Welcome back into another edition of Inside Humboldt Basketball right here with head coach Ronald Abernathy. And, Coach, first off, Happy New Year. I know we're dropping this on Monday, January 6th, but the season is off to a fantastic start, 10-4. We'll go all the way back to Red Bay, Alabama in just a little bit, but very good start to the season so far this year.
Oh, yeah, we are very, very, very pleased at this point to be 10-4. To get, I went back to kind of research where we were and where we've been in previous years, and we're about one game off the pace.
Okay.
Of where we was in 2017 and 2019, two of our better years.
Yeah. Fantastic start to the season. Let's go to Red Bay, Alabama. Well, we actually went to Dyersburg to play Red Bay, Alabama. But what a night that was. Now, Red Bay is known for some things. I mean, historically, they're known for some trees and that kind of thing, but it's a basketball community.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And they had a good team now.
Yeah.
They had a big kid about 6'8" that we had to deal with, and he was very, very good.
Yes, sir.
The kind of player that could get the rebound and take it to the left of the floor, make a layup, or stop and shoot a three.
Yeah.
He was very good.
I look back here. I know you want to see that free throw shooting up a little more. It's 70% in that game. Do you just increase the free throw shooting in practice, or how do we bring that up?
Yeah, we do. I mean, basically, shooting is practice. The more you practice, the better you get. You're not going to become a better shooter just by shooting every once in a while.
Right.
That has to be a consistent dose of shooting each and every day.
Jeffrey Patterson led the team in scoring against Red Bay, Alabama with 21 points, but a player that is coming to his own, and he's a senior, but maybe just hasn't received the spotlight he deserves. Cavante Wedley had 20 points in that game, and he's been really consistent this season.
Yes, he has. Cavante shoots the ball very, very well. And up to this point, he has shot it very well. And, we're going to be looking to him for scoring because he's a great spot-up shooter.
And he comes off that bench, and if you don't watch film against Humboldt, he could surprise you.
Yes, he could. Well, he doesn't come off the bench anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since we lost K.D. Taylor.
That's right.
We moved Cavante into the starting lineup. So he's
okay.
I think at Red Bay might have been the first night he started. It was his first starting game.
Okay.
It was his first night starting.
Yeah.
And I believe he scored 20 points.
Yeah, he scored 20 points. Jeffrey Patterson scored 21. Kendrick Taylor continuing to be consistent there with 12 points as well. That was your top three scorers in that game against Red Bay. When you go into a neutral site like that, talk about from a coach's perspective. It may not have been as neutral as it would have been maybe somewhere else because that's not that far from Humboldt.
Right.
Fans travel. Did they have some people there from Red Bay as well?
Oh, they had a lot of people from Red Bay.
Really?
Yeah, they did have a lot. They did travel well. As a matter of fact, the network, which the game was called on with YouTube, the guy did a great job. He was from Red Bay.
Okay.
And did a good job. And they brought quite a few people with them.
Fantastic. So we get the win against Red Bay. Let's see, I'm trying to pull up these scores as we're talking here. We scored 86, so you got a 20-point win on that one over them, 86-66. And then you moved into getting ready for some Christmas tournaments, and those are always special.
Right.
But, the teams you're playing 2 and 3A teams are going to stretch this team in that preseason like we want. And you opened that tournament up against Obion Central. Now, that game didn't start like we wanted it to. I was only able to see the first quarter and a half of that game.
Right.
But I could tell, it took us a little bit to get into the rhythm of what we wanted to do.
Well, yeah, if you remember, we had been off all week also.
That's right.
And just trying to get back in the rhythm of everything. It took us a little while to get started against Obion, but we finally did.
And Darian Taylor. Right. We've been waiting on him to have those breakout games, and he had one that night, 22 points.
Yes, he did. Did a good job. Fantastic job.
What did Obion Central do early that maybe we had to adjust to? It just felt like maybe it took us a minute.
No, you noticed we missed a lot of shots early.
Okay.
We just didn't. Anytime you have a layoff like we had, that's always a rhythm thing because we work pretty hard.
Yeah.
Lifting weights and shooting and practicing, and when you have a layoff, that's just a slow start. With rhythm and moving, our offense is predicated on you running to your spot and not shuffling or sliding or gliding. We run to the spots, and we didn't do that early. Well, we shot well early, but we just and O'Brien, you have to give O'Brien credit.
Yeah.
They do a good job, and again, you're talking about a bigger school, a 3A school, and we got adjusted and then did a pretty good job after that.
So, and then you had Jeffrey Patterson, 15 points. Kendrick Taylor, once again, coming in that top three with 14 points. You really got to watch those three, the Darian Taylor, Kendrick Taylor, Jeffrey Patterson, because if you don't keep an eye on them, they're going to destroy you every time.
Right, yeah, they do a good job.
So 65, we won 65-59, and got that Christmas tournament started right on Friday with that big win, 11 o'clock game, or 10 o'clock game that morning.
Yes, it was.
I remember that because the reason I only got to saw about a quarter and a half of that game is because I had to take off. Junior high was playing at JCM at 11.
Right. Yeah, that game was early in the morning.
Yeah. And then I went back that night to Liberty to watch the girls, high school girls. It was a busy day. But then the next day, on Saturday, you guys played Dyer County. Now, Dyer County, again, it's going to be one of those teams, and they're going to bring it. But you played excellent in that game.
We played an excellent game. Was very ready from start to finish. Was very ready. We picked it up, picked the pace up. We scored well. We distributed the ball well. Played great defense, and was able to kind of take Dyer County out of the game early.
Yeah, and Kendrick Taylor led the team in scoring on that one with 20 points. And then I show Jeffrey Patterson with 17, and then Tobias Bell getting in there and getting 13 points.
Tobias did an excellent job of scoring and baskets around the basket.
What kind of changed that? Because I know this year he's had a slower start scoring-wise. What do you think opened that up for him that game?
Well, him moving, him moving and being more of aware and wanting to score. He early on he just set picks and then didn't expect to get the ball. But now he's expecting to get it, and when he gets it, he does a very good job of scoring and little short shots around the basket. Has a nice little step out. So now when he gets the ball, he's looking to score, and we want him to score. Inside. So it gives us an inside presence.
Scored 76 points in that game, won 76-45. I don't think anybody I'm not saying they didn't expect you to win, but in that fashion,
no,
that was kind of a surprise.
To be honest, we didn't. I didn't expect to beat them like that because they had, they have good athletes, good team, good program. Didn't expect to take them out like that.
And I am looking here. I'm trying to see. I never. Yes, I did. Okay, I was going to say I may not have gotten the score sheet on the Westview game, but now we can go to that Westview game. But before I do that, let's do the Westview game, and then I'll ask you this question here in a minute. The Westview game didn't quite go the way we wanted it to go, and I know you were disappointed kind of in the outcome of that, where we fell 65. No, that's the wrong score sheet. So you may have to update me on the Westview game. I didn't get that score sheet.
We lost by 9.
Okay,
lost by 9. And, of course, our shooting was terrible.
Okay.
I do know this stat.
Uh-oh.
We only made 17 out of 44 shots offensively.
I imagine the team knows that stat now.
Yes, they do know it. They know it, and we remind them of it, and we consistently remind because you can't win a basketball game against anyone going 17 of 44. And that's what we did. We missed layups. We missed I really think that 3-point-wise, we may have been 2 for 9.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we missed many layups. A lot of layups we missed. And like I said, if you go 17 or 44, you can't. It's hard to win a basketball game.
And that was the feature game of the night.
That was the feature game of the night. And, they had a great Westview crowd in there.
Of course.
And but again, the positiveness that comes out of that is the fact that we played tough. We had an opportunity to win the game.
Yeah.
And we just did not do it. And again, if you shoot 17 of 44, that won't get you a win.
But to still only lose by 9 shooting like that,
that
says a lot about your defense.
Right, right, and it does. And again, the positiveness out of that was the fact that we still were able to maintain still an opportunity to win the game. But again, you can't win a game going 17 out of 44.
No, sir. Okay, so here's the question I was going to ask you before all that. So I wanted to get the recap done first, and then we'll look ahead here in just a moment, folks. Take a quick break. But this roster, we've talked about it. It's such a talented roster, and it's got to be challenging as a coach. You preach the team mentality, obviously, but these are kids.
Right.
They want to score, but you got so many people that are good scorers. Mm-hmm. How do you encourage them when it's evenly spread out like that? We've talked about, Darian came from a different kind of team where he was scoring 30 points in a game but still losing. This, you may score 12 points and win the game.
Right.
It's teaching a lot bigger things than basketball. It's teaching teamwork and that kind of thing. But how do you help those players to manage their expectations?
Well, we predicate our program on the fact, offensively especially, to hit the open man.
Yeah.
Okay, probably don't know this, but if most of the time when you see us and there's a man ahead of us, we require them to pass the ball to the man ahead of you.
Okay.
If you don't, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
We also require players to hit the open man.
Okay.
And to look for that open man first.
Yeah. And
then on our offense, we basically predicate on the fact that we drive, we want the jump shots, and for example, when a player drives and the defense collapses, the ball goes back out. That's the kind of shot we want as far as three-pointer outside shots.
Sure.
Other than that, we want our kids to drive the hole, to drive to the basket.
Yeah.
And we do that pretty well.
17 of 44. I know you're ready to move beyond that game. Let me just ask one more thing about that. You say we got to do better. Obviously, the missing of layups and the jump shots. You practice those things, and it's frustrating in games where they don't follow through. We've said it before though. There's some nights you mentioned the 3 points, 2 for 9 from 3-point land or something like that. How do you coach that? Because you don't want them obviously to get too gun shy where they don't take any.
And you don't, but like I said, basically what we want them to do is to take the 3-point shots off of our offense, where their teammate is driven to the basket and maybe there's a collapse. Yeah. The ball goes out. Now you got a 3-point shot or outside shot in rhythm.
Yeah.
We don't want them creating any shot to shoot a 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the difference. We constantly talk about getting the jump shot off with penetration.
And I guess, and our pickup basketball is completely different, folks, than high school basketball when you're getting a coach in here. So I may ask this question, and you may say, no, that ain't. Uh-huh. But, normally if you're playing pickup basketball, you don't want to take that 3 if there ain't somebody down low.
Right. It's the same thing with us. That's why it's predicated on the offense. If everybody's moving and once the shot goes up, everybody's rebounding.
Yeah.
And that's what we asked them to do.
How are we doing rebounding this year?
Very good.
At those stats.
Very good. Like I said, we're not the biggest team.
Yeah.
But we are doing very well rebounding-wise.
Because I know in that Jackson County game, they got a lot of second-chance opportunities on the shots that they didn't make. And there were very few shots they didn't make in that game. It was a lot of good things in that game for them. But, I'll tell you what, let's do. And, again, this is being recorded before the Haywood game on Saturday. So we may kind of talk a little bit about that game, but not focus as much on that one because it will have already happened when this drops on this Monday night. But we wanted to get an episode recorded, Coach, because it's been about a week and a half. Right. And then we'll get back on schedule here where we're doing it every Monday again. But and so we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll spotlight a little bit of what we're expecting from Haywood. And you'll get to see if what Coach says comes to pass, if these kids follow through, because they'll have already played that game. We'll be right back. You're watching Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy. Welcome back into Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy. And, Coach, I'm telling you, like I said, this season, it's been a joy to watch. Even the games that we've lost, and there's been a couple of losses that were painful. I mean, it was big losses. But even in those games, like to see the kids fight and just finish.
Right.
You know, not with their heads down.
Right.
And even in that game, I've referenced Jackson County, but even in that game, your starters were on the sideline clapping for their teammates on the court.
Right.
You know,
right.
it wasn't like they were checked out and be like, man, I can't believe he took us out. You know, it
No.
wasn't nothing like that. Because
No.
it's just a different atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a totally different atmosphere. Great teamwork. You know, we have 12 good men. Of course, right now we are minus KD Teller because he had the shoulder operation.
Yeah.
So it's a close-knit group.
Yeah.
Close-knit group. And again, they've been together, most of them, 7 of them have been seniors. So they've been together for 4 years.
Wow. What a specialness there. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Haywood. Now, by the time this drops, that game's going to be done. But, man, that first game with Haywood here,
Yes.
which was that our opening home night?
That was.
Man, the atmosphere, it was a Monday night.
Yes, it was. Great
And
atmosphere.
I remember sitting up top because I got here a little bit too late, and I had to sit with the camera like this because it was crowded.
Yes, it was.
It was just
it was packed. It was packed. And I look forward to that Saturday night.
Yeah.
At Haywood, I look forward to the same kind of atmosphere.
Now, we're going to Haywood on Saturday.
Right.
You know, Haywood's looking to try to even that score. That was a close game. Wasn't it a one-point game?
4? Was it 3 or 4?
It may have been 57-56.
57-56. Okay, 1-point game.
Yeah. Now, we were up by 3 or 4.
Right.
And I think they hit a 3 or something like that
At the end, yeah.
And then we had the ball, and we were trying to. It came down to some free throws or something.
It did. Yes, it did. Yeah.
So, you know, those kids are going to remember those games on both sides.
Oh,
We
yeah.
better bring our A game. So, how do you keep them focused going into this game?
You know, it's about one game. It's about a win. You know, it's about
Yeah.
making us better, getting better, and learning from the game.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what it's all about. You got to remember you got Humboldt across the chest, and folks want to beat you.
Oh, yeah.
So our kids got to realize that Humboldt causes fury in folks' eyes, and it definitely caused fury in Haywood because we beat them the first time this year.
Now, you have a Tuesday night game against Dyersburg. Let's talk a little more about that because that will be coming up tomorrow night. So we want to make sure we go ahead and preview that one here. And, Coach, Dyersburg, we've already played them once this year. We pulled out a 3-point win, 60-57.
We did.
Great game. But I know you know what to expect out of them. Now, it looks like this game's going to be a little bit earlier for us. If I'm looking at this schedule correctly, I don't guess the girls are playing that night. If they are, this time is wrong because it's saying 6 o'clock start for you guys.
That's 6 o'clock girls.
Okay, so they've got this wrong on your schedule here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Max Prep, so that's probably where it's messed up. All right, but you're going to play Dyersburg, and I mean those boys are going to bring it. Now they do. Is that the team that they fed that big guy down low?
6'8", 290 pounder. That man mountain.
Yes,
he is. Yes, that's the team.
All right. So, and that is your final game before really you get into your season.
Yes, it is.
And so, what do you look for in that game? Because you want to set that tone.
Yeah.
You don't want to come out of that game down because those next few games really matter.
Yeah, we do. You know, just set the tone for it.
Yeah.
You know, and really, you know, just set the tone. You know, this is it's the next to last game because I do believe we have Covington.
Okay.
A little later with
Yes.
usual. Well, that was to give them the opportunity to come here to give us another home game.
Okay.
So,
Excellent.
but we would have started district play before we play Covington, I believe.
That's right, because they come in January 18th. I see it now.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And then your first district game, Halls.
Halls, at Halls.
What does their team look like this year?
Oh, pretty good. Always, oh Lord, going to Halls.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's early.
Yeah.
You know, early. And I'm glad they come to us late.
Yeah. So what? Okay, so you say, "Oh my, going to Halls." What's that first thing that comes to your mind about traveling to Halls that makes you respond that way?
Just we got to be in tune. Got to be focused.
Yeah.
Realizing it's a district game.
Yeah.
And every district win puts us up one more win.
Sure.
So we need to get every one that we can.
And that is on January the 10th, so that'll be a Friday night game, and that will be the last game before we sit back down and do another show on the 13th. So we'll drop another one there. Like I said, other than KD, it seems like the rest of your team is staying pretty healthy.
Yeah, we are. We are pretty healthy. We have really don't have any major injuries, and just a couple of nick and knacks.
Yeah.
Ankle, a little shoulder, but other than that, in pretty good physical condition.
That's good. All right, let's take them behind the X's and O's for a real quick question. If you sit on the sidelines any at all, and especially if you sit around this coaching staff, which sometimes it don't matter where you're sitting in the gym, they're very good about communicating, okay? You hear the words, shooter, shooter.
Yeah.
Let's bring people into the coach's room and let's explain what that means.
Well, that means that when we're on defense, you're supposed to not let him go free.
Okay.
You're supposed to, even in a situation like that, you only help a little bit, arm's length, because you always want a hand in the shooter's face.
Yeah.
So when we are saying shooter, it means don't leave him, but we've already gone over that prior.
Sure.
So all we're doing is reminding them that is a shooter, so do not let him run free.
Yeah.
Now let him, have any space, so get on the shooter.
And most teams they have one or two of those that you can kind of key in on, right?
Oh, yeah, they do. They do. Very rarely do teams not have one or two. And then, of course, the difference in being successful or not, if they got one, you pretty much can shut him down. Two, close. But if they got three, you in for a long night. Because
so that's what I was talking about with our three.
Yeah, with our three, yes.
Yeah.
But I was particularly talking about when we're on defense.
Sure.
You gotta get this. When we say shooter, it means we stay. Don't let him go.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. We'll try to pick out something like that each week, just so that people can understand. There may be some people new to the game and not realize what you're doing. And
I agree with that, because sometimes I hear people holler some things, and I really don't pay a lot of attention.
Sure.
But you just something stands out. You hear somebody say, "Shoot the ball," and be like, "I dare you to shoot that ball." Just shoot it. It's calling them, just hear people say things, but them not knowing the gist of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we say on the court that we know what their reasons are. We know their keys to that.
Yeah.
The average fan would not know.
Yeah. This one won't give anything away, because I do sometimes get the privilege of sitting close enough I can hear you in your timeouts. But I won't give anything too much away here. But there was one time that we were struggling, and we were taking a lot of three-point shots, and I never will forget it. You called a player's name, and I won't call the kid's name because I don't want to embarrass him. But you looked at him and you said, "Before you shoot another three, just make a shot." So, sometimes people just don't understand.
No, they don't. And it's like I said, now it's become funny to me.
Sure.
When people say things or do things, because, again, I don't know if I said this, coaching is one of the few professions where people get an opportunity to come and be professional, and not have an opinion and not have any experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
And some of the things they say are holler. What some of the suggestions would be funny, like, really?
Yeah.
It's just not. It was just funny.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
I understand that. Well, Coach, good luck on the next few games. We enter into 2025, but we're still in the same season, and it's been a great one so far, 10-4 at the recording of this. We'll see how the Haywood game comes out, and it's going to be a great week of basketball. Make sure you take advantage, folks. I know Humboldt travels well. Take advantage of those games that you can get to, even when they're on the road. These kids are really, really fun to watch. And I was telling my friend Stan Gerard the other day, he calls for Trinity Christian, and him and Dave McCulley. And I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, man, if you can get to and see a Humboldt game, well, then we played in that tournament.
Right.
But that was the Jackson County game he came to. And I was like, that's not us, man. That was an off night. Got to go to another one. So.
Exactly.
So make sure you get to those games. These kids are playing great. Like I said, you've got the three that are usually being high scorers, and they're working it out, together. Obviously, the game dictates the pace and kind of the success of that, but this team has really, really adjusted well. I've watched it. A lot of times you don't necessarily make a lot of halftime adjustments, but, just making sure that they know how the game is flowing and how the game is being called.
Right.
That can be frustrating. I know a lot of folks don't understand, how sometimes games are called. And that Jackson County game was one where, we got a lot of penalties called on us.
We did. The Westview game was very strange.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
We actually, it just appeared that, we were not allowed to touch them very
Yeah.
often. But then they were grabbing our arms.
Oh, wow.
They were hacking us, and
Yeah.
nothing was called.
Ah.
And then our kids sometimes have a tendency like, well, they're fouling me. Well, so what? Just play through it.
Yeah.
Play through it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Coach, thanks again for the opportunity to come sit down with you again. We will do this. It'll be about a week or so. When this one drops, it will be 1 week from tonight, and we will be on track at that point. We can talk about some games, and we don't have to worry about how the outcome of that game already has been, because when this drops, we will already have played Haywood, but the next week it won't be that way. So we'll make sure to get back on track. Right. Christmas and New Year's kind of messes us up real bad. We're getting back on.
It does. It does.
Oh, my. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate
you.
your time. This is Inside Humboldt Basketball with head coach Ronald Abernathy. Join us next Monday at 7 o'clock for another edition of this podcast.